Hey there internets, I'm Michael and this is Toucan Play That Game, bringing you another game night in review, and once again we're talking Arcadia Quest because I played our 5th scenario and that was the Alchemist District. So if you haven't already done so, you might want to look back at the previous game night in reviews where I talk about Arcadia Quest and what's been happening with the campaign so far, so you can get a full appreciation for who the guilds are, what they've been through to get to where they are, and the struggles and animosity that has formed between those guilds before watching this to see what happened in this 5th scenario. So for those of you who don't know, the 4 guilds we have is I'm the blue guild over here, which is Mage Blast because, well, I've got Maya and Seth, so hugely magic centered. We then have the Fiery Death Gang, which is the orange guild over here. So this is actually my wife's guild. We've got Wisp, Scarlet and Grom there. And then we have the For Fox's Sake guild, which is the red guild here. And in there we've got Diva, Spike and Kanga. And finally we have the Blondie Rangers, the green guild. And that's made up of Greensleeves, Johan and Darin. So that's the guilds. Let's talk about the setup at the beginning of the game. So this is an odd map that it has a hole in the middle of it, which we put the dice tray in, just that's what we wanted to do. And you're each on one different side of that hole is your starting area. So there are 2 Pve quests in this scenario. Firstly, to kill one of the sisters and take a bomb off them, or to find your guild token and thereby disarming a bomb. The guild token for your guild is actually the opposite side of that big gaping hole. So you need to get to the other side of the map. And of course, there's another guild there. Potentially, if you try and go round rather than through the portals, you've got 2 guilds you've got to go through. So it is quite a challenging one, despite actually being labelled as easy. So starting out, the first kind of round, I was very much set on getting that Warden of Fire title because I like the benefit it gives you for the temple scenario at the end of the game, which will be our next one. Because it makes you immune to damage from treasure tokens, which is really good. So I set off trying to get there. So the first thing I did is I had Chaz run out of my starting area and attack an orc. Now, luckily, he did manage to kill this orc, but more than that, he rolled a crit and he had Battlecry. Now, this is a hugely powerful card because whenever you roll a crit when attacking with a character with Battlecry, you can then activate another hero in your guild. So I was able to then also activate Seth and bring him out and kill a second orc in my first round. Seeing that was a very good first turn, I cleared a portal, ready for me to then go in and travel to wherever I wanted to get to. It was fairly similar for the rest of the guilds as well. So the Fiery Death Gang then came out and were able to attack one orc. The For Fox's Sake guild managed to come out and kill one orc, and of course, because they also had Battlecry, they also got another person out and managed to kill another orc. And they were very much focused on trying to do the killing a sister because they wanted the bomb reward that would give. And then at this point, there was a respawn. Now, I had another big advantage in this scenario because I was the Guardian of the Gate, which was a title I gained for one of the other scenarios that we did. And this meant that when we did the spawning for this scenario, I controlled it. It was fantastically powerful, potentially I would say overpowered, because I was able to just go, well, I don't want them in front of me blocking my path, and I don't want you guys to get out and get your quests. So I'm just going to put them in front of everyone else's starting areas, completely blocking them in. And this was very unfortunate, especially for the Blondie Rangers who hadn't yet gone. So they hadn't even had a chance to get out of their starting area and 2 orcs appeared dead set in front of their doorway. So that was not so good for them. So they then started trying to kill those orcs off. Didn't go great. And then it came back round to me, and I had Chaz run forward, dive through the portal, heading towards getting to my guild token. And so he came out, he smashed an orc, which triggered his battle cry because he rolled a crit, which meant Seth was able to follow him through the portal, appearing, and Fiery Death Gang had Grom just sat there because he'd just killed an orc. So, it's Seth. What else is he going to do? Blasts Grom. And Grom died. So that was not so good for my wife. She felt very picked on by me that I had just come straight out, run over there, killed her. I was dominating the entire game, really. People tried to fight me off, and they just couldn't do anything to stop me. I was just too powerful, especially having control of the monsters with that spawning. But then, of course, it was the Fiery Death Gang's go, and they wanted revenge, so they sent Wisp out after Seth, but unfortunately failed to kill him. Then, for Fox's sake, Diva tried to take out the orcs that were behind her, but didn't roll very well at all, and in fact, the orcs killed her. So that wasn't great for their guild. I think that's the point that things really started to go wrong for the Fox's sake guild during this scenario. The Blondie Rangers, it was just that they never got out of their starting area, and that really slowed them down, hindered them, put them dead set behind everyone. So there was a lot of setbacks for the other guilds other than me, and I'd created them. So it was a bit unbalanced, a bit unfair. But then the Blondie Rangers did manage to get an orc out of their doorway and started heading towards Seth because he was wounded, or at least that's what I thought. Then, because I saw everyone kind of closing in on me, and Chaz had a fair amount of treasure on him, I decided the sensible thing to do, because I only had one attack left I could do potentially with Seth or Chaz, and that was for Seth to do a Astral Strike. And I don't think there was, that Darren was within reach, so I could have Astral Strike Darren, but I decided to rest. Partly so that I could just move that treasure, because I think I had 7 coins worth of treasure at this point. So move that 7 coins worth of treasure to the safety of Maya, who was in my starting area. So I did that, got all my attacks back ready, so that I'd be able to fight off the oncoming onslaught. And it very much did happen. So the Fiery Death Gang had Scarlet kill off the orc that I'd placed in their way, which allowed her to then come out. And she blocked the corridor. She went and stood with Wisp, blocking the corridor. So it's like, right, if you're going to get to your quest token, you've got to come through us. So they were asking to be attacked there, really. And then, for Fox's sake, Spike just tried moving away from the Hammer Beastmen that were there, and they pounded him into the ground from behind. That was just absolutely killed him. The guy who's controlling Spike keeps trying, he's got tons and tons of defense dice on Spike, and he keeps trying to use Spike's ability in order to kill things. But it's just not working. He can't roll anything but blanks on his defense. So unfortunate. Then what did the Blondie Rangers do? Oh, yes, that's right. Darren then decided to kill Chaz. And that's what I was saying. I thought that they were going after the wounded member, that they were going after Seth. No, went after Chaz because, of course, Darren gets a bonus dice against an unwounded opponent. And yes, Darren killed his brother. And more than that, he then fled through the portals, picking up some treasure. So at this point, I had Seth fully rested. I couldn't really afford to rest to get Chaz back yet. So I could have gone through the portal, but I felt that wasn't the safest bet. And I didn't like that the Fiery Death Gang had put a wall up specifically to block me. So I decided to attack Wisp with Seth. Now, this didn't go great. I didn't manage to kill him, but it, could have gone worse, I suppose. And at that point, I then decided to flee with Seth to somewhere a little safer. Then the Fiery Death Gang chose to rest, so I needn't have fled anyway, but oh well. And they brought Grom back. And for fuck's sake, then did the same. They rested. Because obviously they were now Diva and Spike down, so they really needed to rest. And the Blondie Rangers had a bit of an uneventful turn as well, because they then just had Darren popping around, picking up some treasure. And I think he did also take a pot shot at a couple of, or an orc, but it didn't really do much and nothing really happened from it. Then in the next round, it was back round to me, of course, and Seth then used the portals that he'd fled through to come out behind the Fiery Death Gang, so rather than appearing next to Grom, appear the other side of the map, but able to shoot them, and decided to shoot them in the back. Now, I'd hoped to manage to kill someone, I didn't, which was unfortunate, but never mind. The Fiery Death Gang, of course, were not too thrilled with this, so they then retaliated by sending Scarlet to attack Seth. Luckily, I was rolling like a demon the entire game, and despite the fact that I think I had 2 defense die with Seth, no one managed to kill him at all during the game. He was like, I'm immortal, I'm invulnerable. It was great. Then for fuck's sake, they were trying to clear the orcs I'd placed in their doorway, because obviously their whole guild was back in their starting area. They managed to do a bit of damage, but didn't manage to clear anything away, but at least no one died this time. And then the Blondie Rangers killed the final orc that was in their doorway. And it was then at this point I decided I needed to rest again, because, you know, Seth had had a bit of damage, he was out of attacks other than Astral Strike, and of course he had no one near any of the rest of the guild, so it would really be good for him to have a bit of support. So he rested, and that meant he got Chaz back with him, which was really useful. The Fiery Death Gang then had Wisp come and try to kill Seth, and failed. As I said, Seth was invulnerable. Well, not invulnerable, he took a few hits there, here and there, but he kept managing to heal them with, it was Life Drain 2, I think. 2 or 3. So, really useful spell, that. And then, for fuck's sake, managed to get one of the orcs gone from their doorway, which still left them with 1. But, you know, it was a step towards the right direction. The Blondie Rangers then tried to, and failed to kill an orc. At which point, it was back to me. And, you know what? This was the best, most amusing turn of the entire game. Everyone was on the edge of their seats for this turn, because Chaz went and swung his axe, and he had cleave, and so he was targeting both Scarlet and Wisp, and was rolling 6 or 7 dice, I can't remember exactly, and just rolled a ton of hits. It was like 10 hits on both of them. And he literally just sliced them both in half. You know, they got their defense dice, did no good at all. Absolutely destroyed them. He charged forward, roaring with a battle cry, which then, of course, meant that Seth triggered. And it was like, oh my god, I'm going to kill my wife's entire guild in one turn. Like, total party kill on her. And everyone was just like on the edge of their seat waiting for it to happen, because Seth then moved forward and blasted Grom, but didn't kill him, luckily. I think I might have ended up with a divorce if he had managed to. But it was so thrilling, so absolutely thrilling and exciting to have happen. But of course, that did mean that the Fiery Death Gang then wanted revenge. So Grom charged Seth and Chaz and did manage to daze them both. So, you know, that's a big deal. That's loss of their defense dice. But didn't manage to kill either of them, which is what I think my wife was going for there. And then, for fuck's sake, finally cleared the last orc from their doorway, and the Blondie Rangers managed to do the same thing on their turn. Although they did lose Johan in the process of doing that. So, with that exciting turn all out of the way, that exciting round, it was then back round to me. And did I do anything exciting like last time? No. Chaz ran into the room where that guild token was and killed the little goblin guarding it. At which point he rolled a crit, which meant battle cry! And Seth came running in, shutting the door behind him and picking up and disarming the bomb, which meant I got the quest I wanted. I am the Warden of Fire. So that's awesome. Going into the final encounter, I think I've got 2 titles. So that will be really, really useful. Yeah, and then the game was a bit kind of slow from there on. Fiery Death Gang were just kind of fighting off some orcs a bit here, a bit there. For Fox's Sake was doing the same. What was Blondie Rangers doing? I think, again, they were just fighting the orcs on their side of the map. And it kind of just carried on that way for a while until, in the end, the Fiery Death Gang and For Fox's Sake managed to clear the beastmen and the orcs that were blocking the path to the sister they were going for. So they were like, right, finally, next round, one of us is going after that sister, is going to kill that sister and complete that quest. And then I had Seth step out from where they'd all been hiding away, just letting everyone get on with the game for a bit, and blasted Spike in the back with a bolt of magic. Absolutely annihilated him, and of course, therefore, ended the game because that was my 3rd quest completed. So it was a very unbalanced game. I think everyone did still enjoy it despite that unbalance. This time around, every other time I've played Arcadia Quest, I've not noticed so much of a runaway leader problem. And this time around, I'm noticing that a lot more. And I don't know why it's happening, though. I mean, I think it's more the titles that are making the biggest difference at this point, not equipment. Because everyone else has got really good equipment, because everyone keeps managing to have plenty of money. I mean, the amount of money that was in this scenario, oh my God, I was on like 30 odd gold coins by the end of it. We used every coin in the game. We did not have enough money to give to everyone. So, no one was like, well, I can't afford that, I can't afford that. It was just buy whatever you want. The limiting factor, of course, was the number of items and what you were going to replace. And I think in the end, I only bought 2 items. So, yeah, absolutely great game. I love Arcadia Quest. And, when did I knock him over? So that was the scenario, of course. Next time we play Arcadia Quest, that means it will be the Temple of Dawning Twilight, which is the final scenario where we try and kill Lord Fang. So I do hope that you've been enjoying this. Of course, if you are, please do check out the rest of the videos on the channel, subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends and family. And do also check us out on social media. You can find us on Facebook and also on Twitter. And as always, thanks for watching and bye for now.